Right, so if we do that, that might help a little bit. I still can't click on it. Come on. There we go. Finally. Set as target. It must be about 100 meters then. Control from here. Make sure the correct thing is set as target. Right, I'm going to save that.
As in cute kitten, I ate too much X_X.
Okay. Whatever you say. Right. Do you reckon it can dock from here? I've saved it. Let's see if it can actually deal with this. I've lined it up.
How is your day going so far, Paul?
Valencia, it was going really well, right at some point where we got to the moon, and now it's just being a bit weird. Go forward. I feel like it's letting it slip away again. It's just doing weird things. It's somehow... I gave it a lovely stable orbit, and then it just decided to push itself at a speed in the wrong direction, is what it feels like. I am controlling the docking port. I did that ages ago, I'm sure I did. Oh my god. Oh my god, game. What? 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 It's like something on the animal. Oh. Yeah, it's a great dock. Well done. I thought I'd already done it ages ago, Battle Cattle. I'll do it again.
Wow, well done.
What are you blaming me for? Okay. If you switch between crafts, it unsets from crawl from here. Does it really? Why would it do that? I would do it manually, but the control system is worse than using a crane in Farm Simulator when the camera's spinning. It's just insane. Trying to get your sense of up, down, left, and right is hard enough on the ground. When you're orbiting a moon, it's even harder. It's going in hot. It's overshot. What a surprise. It's completely overshot again. It's backing off. Oh, you stupid game. This Mac Jeb. Somebody needs to take a look at the code. Control from here. Target is set. Auto parts enable. Force roll 0. I'm going to let it get close and then I'm going to take over. Docking mode. Linear. It overdoes everything. That's the problem. It overcompensates all the time. It's like it's coming in too low again, you see? It needs to go up. Maybe even it can't work out which way is up, and that's the problem. I'm just doing it manually now. Game, please. See, how hard was that? And the mech Jeb's like, oh, I've missed. I'll run out of propellant. It's not hard. You just a bit of thrust, and then you wait. You wait for things to move. And then a bit of counter thrust. That's all it is.
Wow, well done.
It just keeps holding the thrust key down. That's its problem. My God. Thank you, Nightbird. Right. So what's next? We need to detach. We need to detach this thing and deorbit that lot. But first we need to transfer fuel. So we'll grab the fuel into... It's the main tank, isn't it? Chuck it out of there. Let's get it out of these cross tanks. Chuck it out of there. Have a cup of tea. Oh, you asked. Jeez. Let's see. Have you got anything left in these tanks? No, no. The Kerbals are excited you managed to dock it. Yeah. I understand the problem with the computers. Right, I think that is all the fuel transferred out. So all I need to do now is bring enough in for a deorbit. Should be plenty, shouldn't it? Okay. Okay. Oh, why has it got no... Oh, it's got 50, it's fine. Hey, we might get some free science out of this because we've got a seismometer thing on the moon. Magic Jam. When it gets released. Yes. Who knows when that will be. See ya. Okay, that's going bye-bye. Okay, there we go. Now this solar array is broken because an engineer needs to remove these struts. I'm going to accelerate time and see if we get, when this hits the ground, do we get any free signs? Oh, that's going to land very close. No, we didn't get any signs. Interesting. If they can nail multiplayer, I want to wait 2 more years for KSP2. Can you imagine this game in multiplayer? It'd be just mad. Yeah, but my point, Mooch, is it depends how they've done the multiplayer. As in, you know, can you only play with friends? Imagine playing online with random people in KSP. That's what I mean. Like, on the one hand, multiplayer KSP would be fantastic if they get it right. The idea of building a station together, docking rockets, like, just so much fun. But the flip side of it is you build a station like this and then some Leroy just comes in with his rocket, docks and just goes, I'm going to blast your station to the sun. That's true. If you have multiplayer, there's no quick loading. So yeah, potentially, multiplayer has a lot of problems. Because you can't make mistakes so easily. Base building is going to be cool. I think if they get it right, there's a lot of things that would be really cool about it. Is there an end game? Yes and no. I mean, put it this way, in multiplayer, let's say you want to go to the moon and somebody else is going to go to Minmus. How are you going to coordinate accelerated time? Yeah, you could agree on it. I'm sure that'd work. Right. I want to build a mining vehicle. So, having not done mining in base KSP before, last time I used it was a mod, I'm not really sure how this works. So, this needs to be... It needs to be a vehicle that lands on the moon and then basically drills the ore, converts the ore into fuel. So in a way it needs to have fuel tanks on it, which is fine. I want this to stay stationary. So it'll just sit on the moon drilling. And then there'll be another rover which will move fuel from it to whatever lands to get fuel. So something comes in and lands and gets fuel, and there'll be a transfer rover which will move between this, and that. Hey, Zibbity. So that's what I'm thinking. So its requirements are, can you mine wherever and get fuel? Not wherever, no. No. There's only certain places. You have to put a probe around the planet, find out where the ore is, and then go there. So this is a static miner, so it needs to have drills, the converter, whatever it is, and then enough power to drill and convert, and then potentially go through the night, so like a gazillion batteries. And then it needs to not bounce around while it's drilling, which isn't a big deal on the moon, but it would be on Mimbers. And then, and this is the important bit, and this is the bit that I need to test, that transfer vehicle that comes over, which is some kind of rover on wheels, needs to have like a docking port on it, and the height of it needs to line up with the height of the docking port on this thing, so that when this is on the ground drilling, the rover can drive over and just connect. Because I don't think, and I could be wrong because I've not looked at the robotics here, I don't think you can have a docking port that can move around, if you see what I mean. You kind of could, I guess, if you put it on an alligator hinge, maybe, but then it probably wouldn't connect to the rocket. I don't know. I don't know how it works. Yeah, but if you put a docking port on a hinge, can you transfer fuel through it? How would you move it? What do you mean, how would I move it, Larry? I did say, when it's on the surface, it's stationary. You can adjust a rover suspension. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to test it. I just want to think it through. Right, so this is going to have an engineer in it, so this is a one-man vessel. I don't know, Gordon. I don't know. Kind of thinking it might have some lights up on the top here. So not a few holes that Kerbal can operate with. Don't know. The docking port has to be aligned with the leg base, meaning you can build a rover with wheels which will align with the docking port on the rover, if that makes sense. Not exactly. Let's just build this out and then we'll start tuning it. Where's the lights? Right, so that's illuminating the area if you want it. Yes, I've already scanned the surface. Yeah. Yeah, we did that a while back, so we're all good. Litres of propellant. Because this thing, like, if I understand this correctly, when you mine for ore, you can convert it into propellant or fuel or oxygen. So you need to have tanks for it to store into. I used a ball jump with 2 docking ports. One's for a Duna freight truck. Right. Desede? That will say your name. Welcome. What can you view the total amount of propellant that this vehicle now has? Engineer's report, parts 20, mass. It doesn't actually list the capacity, does it? I'm just wondering how much propellant was there. I mean, that's got 20 in it. It's 160 plus the 400, so it should be 560. But, can I look at the what? The blue over white livery on the Rockermax fuel tank. That one. We think the black tanks are for storage, Sniffer. These? The holding tank. No, that's for raw materials. So I think the way it works is the miner drills into the ground, it brings ore, and then the holding tank has the ore in it, and then from that your convertatron, I think it's called, or something, translates that ore into something else. So you need one of these. I don't know how big that is. If we just put the word holding in there. Small holding tank, radial holding tank. Oh yeah, you can have side tanks if you want. So I think that's, yeah, I don't think we need that just yet. Fuel tank, so that will give us, what's that? 270 fuel, 330 oxidizer. I want this thing to be quite stable, but it needs to be quite big. That's the problem with it. And it needs a whole stack of batteries. I don't know where they're going to go right now. Rockamax fuel tank. Kind of needs to go outwards, really. Wait 1 second. Minor Mark 1. Let me go and look at the science. It might well be that we can unlock like heavy rocketry or something and get huge tanks. It's just engines. We may need this, though. We might have to unlock that. Yeah, that makes sense. A grip pad, a medium-sized non-slip pad, so that the feet of your mecha bot do not slip from under it. Does it mean your mecha bot? Oh, there's a large holding tank there, look. Huh. Charlie Aldis, haven't been here for a good while. Good to be back. Welcome back, Charlie. Large volume containment. That is a big tank. The Kerbal. 1609. That is a big tank. Wow. We don't have enough science because we need 300 for that to get big tanks. And kind of feel like we need this because I don't know what the wheels are at the moment. Probably like a bit naff. Probably like that, aren't they? And we probably need something more akin to that. We could probably get away with this. Let's have a quick look. Did the ScanSat work? Do you mean the satellite we put into orbit around the moon? Yes. Yeah, they're not the best wheels in the world, are they, really? That's not too bad. The problem is it doesn't have a particularly long reach down, does it? You think the click-through blocker might fix the issue with the docking port? Right. My concern here is that wheel... Actually, we could probably get away with it with these. It just depends whether we want larger tanks. If we get the larger tanks, then we can, you know, the miner which doesn't move. Does it need bigger tanks? I don't know. You think the wheels can be operated using a battery? What do you mean? Yeah, you could put them on a girder. It's just a matter of, yeah, you need the ground clearance, don't you? Hmm. Hmm. I'm going to unlock that. Because I want to see what it looks like. Yeah, that's more like it. Now that's a refueler. That's a beast. You want it as wide as possible because we're going to have side engines on it. I hope the fairing can go around this thing. It's going to be a monster. Now the problem with this is, so I guess the drills and the lander rockets will go on the side. The legs need to come out of it, and then the connection ports. There's quite a lot got to go on this side tank here. Yeah, you can change colour, but it's meh. Go bright orange if you really want to. Can't change those. Orange miner. Maybe we have the lights orange as well. The Orange Mining Company. My worry is there's lots of things not on here yet. Giant solar panels, batteries, the mining drills, the convertitron, the holding tanks, like there's just none of it on here yet. The holding tanks, I think, will have to be radial holding tanks. 75 max. I just don't know how much you need. Oh, this thing's going to be heavy. There's no doubt about that. How much holding tanks, like how much do you need? That gives you like 300. Well, I mean, we could assemble it in space, possibly. Drillmatic Junior. It's going to need one rocket to get off Kerbal. Oh. We'll solve that problem in a minute. Just need to build the beast first. It also needs to dock at the moon, and the moon doesn't have a small port on it yet. It only has the big ports. So that's another problem. I don't know if it depends on that valence I was looking at. Power consumption 7.5 per second. Comet drill, core heat. Oh yeah, we need radiators. We need radiators as well. Required cooling 100 kilowatts. Dear me. Max input 22.5 per second. Max output 1.5. Right, 1.5 ore per second. Maximum output. From those beasts. 1.5 a second. And then there's something like the convertatron. Which also has cooling requirements. Resource converter, oxidizer, 0.45 per second. And 0.55 per second. Seems to me you don't need many drills to drive these. In fact, the more stuff that you have, the more energy requirement you're going to have as well. Effectively, that takes exactly one ore per second to convert liquid fuel and oxygen. 1 per second. So one of these, well, how big they are. Ooh, that's not small. So one of these can be powered by one drill. Yikes. I've got an idea. Why don't we stack them like that? And then we can put tanks and everything on top. So if you have like 4 of them... Why does that clip in such a weird fashion? Actually, let's mount them on something sensible. That electrical drainage. Yeah, I don't know where the power's going to come from yet. Maybe we need to take like a massive generator with us. Imagine what happens when there's no sunlight. Wait, what is the giant solar array? 24 a second. 24.4 per second generation. Let me just bear that in mind. I don't think I can go nuclear, and nuclear doesn't have that much generation, I don't think. I think nuclear power in this game anyway is like very low power, but for a very, very, very long time. I don't know, Larry, I'm gonna have to work it out in a minute. Modular girder adapter. Why is that not putting 4 of them down? Just thinking about the docking port side of things. Do we keep a trickle charge going into the miner while it's in the dark? I reckon the power requirements... I just don't think it would run at night. Like, I just can't see how it could possibly run at night. There's just no fuel. Unless you have just insane amounts of batteries. Oh my god. How do you do like a 90 degree... It's like a 90 degree girder in this. Or do you just have to manufacture one, I wonder? Like, you want one of them, but it's a cube. Push them in. The problem is this is getting like way too wide. There is no 90 degree. Why? Why, game? Why? It seems like such an obvious thing to want to turn 90 degrees. But I guess instead you have to basically... do that with them. See, why couldn't they just made a piece like that? How hard would that have been, eh? What's the yellow cube? Isn't that 6x90? This, Rocamax multipoint. It's a strange docking port thing. Which I think is mostly useless as well. Yeah, but that's no reason, Von Jaeger. Just because you can construct something from parts doesn't mean to say... Because that's not truly 90 degrees. Actually, what you want is another rectangular piece and then another one of these down here, because this is shorter than longer. Like, they should have given you that. Rocamax node. They are so big. Electric charge 30 per second. So one of them needs more power than one gigantic solar panel can provide. So if you want 4 of them, that's basically 5 giant solar panels. That ain't happening. That just is not happening. So we can't run 4. In actual fact, you don't need to run 4. Like, it doesn't matter if it... As long as it does the job, you can just skip time and wait for it to fill up anyway. How much power does the drill take? So hang on, that was 30 for the liquid and 30 for the resource. Yeah, so 30 for each. I presume it can run both at a time. And it has a whole load of cooling requirement. So each converter has 200 kilowatts of cooling. And then launch one drill at a time and have an army of drills. Do you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking this thing would be better. I don't know how feasible it is, but it would be better if it was a vehicle. Because if it was like a barrel-long vehicle, you could have lots of solar panels on top. You could barrel the fuel tanks and the converters. You could have drills coming out the side. And then somehow you've got to mount that to a rocket, and when you land it, it's got to turn and land on its wheels. But if it can get on its wheels... then it wouldn't need a transfer vehicle, because it effectively is a transfer vehicle. It's like a drilling, refueling beast. You know what I mean? The only problem is like getting it up into orbit. Actually, the biggest problem is landing it. That's the big problem. Because it would be asymmetrically weighted. I think you'd have to have wheels that are on struts, and you'd have to rotate them into their final position for landing, and then land it like that, stick the wheels out, and then somehow get it to turn without blowing up. But I think that would avoid having to be like super wide and like build outwards. You can just build lengthways. You can't jettison with parachutes on the moon. There's no atmosphere. You can't use parachutes. The only place that would even work is like a planet with an atmosphere. That's true, Costello. All right, let's have a look. Crew capacity of 1. So that could be the nose cone, possibly. Or we can go for that. Oh, that looks better. Okay, doesn't like this. There you go. That looks better, doesn't it? So that has a crew capacity, I think, of 1. Yep. It's just for the drill-o-matic. Yeah, effectively. We could put some stuff at the front here, but it needs to have a connector for refueling. So we kind of want to go a bit wider now, I think. So if we look at the fuel tanks, maybe like adapt a bit bigger like that. Small boosters to slow it. Yeah, we'll have to put the boosters on for landing later. Let's go size. It's like a cargo thing. Is there a cargo bay in this? Or have I just not unlocked something like that? Service bay. Guess not. Is Bill going to pilot it? Well, it needs an engineer, so... it's whatever engineer ends up spending their entire life on the surface of the moon drilling for ore. They're going to be the ones in the cockpit. That looks pretty funky. Come on, game. So that is a... what's that? 990... It's about 1,000 of each. Thing is, there's nothing to stop you later on just landing a fuel storage silo. You just bring back some kind of giant fuel tank and land it with a connector on it, and then this thing can just run fuel into it, so you've got like a massive buffer of fuel. Because otherwise you've got to take what's in this tank and then accelerate time until it drills for more, right? Unless you have a local storage tank. But, you know, drills can go on here. Solar panels can go on the top. Where's the converter-tron? Let's figure out the size of that. So the size of that is a bit bigger. So we could potentially go a bit larger on the old fuel tanks. Dragon Reaper, thank you for 7 months. 1.25. It needs that, doesn't it? Nope, even that's too big. So have your converter like that. See, this is going to be exposed, isn't it? Which kind of looks cool, I guess. There's no atmosphere, so it doesn't really matter. There's no way of covering that up easily. That's 540 plus 720. About 1,200 litres of fuel storage. You also want an army of batteries and things. What do we need? Converter-tron. We need ore storage, holding tanks. I have to put this a bit more forward, because they're not very big. I suppose you could put it on the nose, couldn't you? Can we change colour? No! Can't change colour. Scumbag. Yikes, that colour scheme. It looks like a weird bird now. I can't believe you can't change the colour of that. Electrical drain of the converter-tron is... We worked it out to be... It's at 30 a second or something. But the bit I don't know is... It's 30 a second for liquid fuel, and it's 30 a second for oxidization. Which means if you turn both on, which you will, effectively that's 60 a second. It's basically 30 for everything. Propellant, fuel, you name it. So there you go, liquid fuel plus oxygen. Electric charge, 30 per second. Outputs requires 0.5 ore per second. Outputs 0.5. Wait a minute. Oh, the rate is lower. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it looks like you can put it into LOX mode, and it'll take 30 a second and output that much. So it just depends how much you can drive of these things at once. The thing is, there's nothing to stop you dropping more than one on the planet. You just need another engineer. This is going to the moon. Fine. Because if you want another one of them, it's going to get longer. Get longer and longer and longer. But you could have an army of them. You could have an external seat, but it just doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about dropping that and having radial holding tanks, maybe. Because I don't think you need that much storage, really. I guess the point of the holding tank is it's a buffer between the drills and the convertitron, so if one of them has to shut down for heating or electric purposes, the holding tank allows the other one to keep going, I guess. Maybe that's the reason for it. The problem with these is where do you put them? So I guess you'd probably want that instead. It's 1,000 electric charge. For something that drains 30 a second, just for this thing gonna last a long time. Yeah, well, the rads are going to have to go somewhere, aren't they? Fletcher Red, thank you for 7 months. You'd need 648,000 units of electrical charge to power one of the mines for one item for one day, not through the night. I don't think it's going to go through the night. I just can't see the mining going through the night. The batteries will drain, it will shut down. I think all you can do is be as efficient as you can in the day. That's the best thing you can do. That's the Junior. Is the Junior what we used on the fueling station? I think it is, isn't it? I hope so. Radiators. Right. Thermal control system large. Core heat transfer. 1,000 kilowatts. That's quite a lot. So you need 2 of those just to cool that one converter. I don't know if the Junior has fuel transfer. I thought they were all exactly the same. I don't think there's any difference in them. I think it's just a size difference. I did ask that question originally. 200 kilowatts, 250. So it's got to be... Oh my god! That's insane! You what, mate? So we need 2 of them just to keep that cool. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is going to be a big rocket. This, whatever this turns out to be, it's going to be pretty big. Oh my god. Now we'll fit on the side of there at least.